internships, projects or contract work, and then of course, full-time positions as well. So the idea of this, and again, this is, can you say that? Oh, maybe it's this. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm just turning that down. Okay. The idea of this, when I was looking at job sites in general, what I saw was either one of two things. They were completely overwhelming with thousands and sometimes tens of thousands of jobs, or they were kind of like a ghost town, a little bit, nobody was really there, or it was on a date, or it was just kind of hard to find things. As an instructor, I've been doing this for about 13 years, I've been asked, I don't know how many times, and I'm sure many of you have as well, if you know somebody that can do A, B, or C. And although we do have a career center and a job board and all those types of things, it just seemed like matching people with true relevant matches was always sort of a hit and miss. It seemed who answered the phone, who got the email, who happened to be walking down the hall. And I thought there's got to be a better way to really, really match people and have it be pretty flexible, easy to modify. So the backbone of this whole thing is a database that has career categories, whether it's animation, filmmaking, whatever it is. And then the second tier of that is specific skill sets. Like, what applications do you actually know? What are your strengths? Because in my experience, especially with students, they tend to say they know everything, which is, partially true, I guess. But I really want, what I'm trying to do is have it be a little more focused, so that out of a list of specific programs or, again, skill sets, that you're kind of picking your top 3. And so when an employer posts a position, they're using the same career categories, the same skill sets. When students create profiles, they're doing the same thing. They're picking a category and a skill set. And the whole point is that it makes very relevant matches. So when you're looking for a specific expertise, that you can get to it pretty directly. And it's also easy to make changes. There's one of the things they were talking about in the keynote is this whole broader, deeper. People's skill sets are changing a lot in real time, and so you want to be able to go in and modify your profile and have it be, very current. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go through, and you're welcome to either just follow along, looking on the screen. If you want to get online, it's just I'll give you the URL. This site is a prototype at this point. It's just about finished and about ready to be rolled out. There's a few things the colleges have to work out. I started, when I proposed this to my school, I was just kind of looking to make sort of the Craigslist, if you will, of our college in digital media, because that's where I work. And so I was trying to create a separate site that was just focused on that. And they thought, once they figured out what I was talking about, they thought they wanted to go a little larger with that. So we have now partnered with 3 colleges. You can see, whoops, sorry, that's my, make sure I keep that going. We're partnered with College of Marin and Napa Valley College in this particular program that we're working on now with digital media. There's another instructor, Michael McKeever, who's a big part of this organization, the MTech organization, and he's a networking instructor. And he saw one of the early presentations that we did with this site, and he thought it would be a good service for this community as well. This is a collaboration of, I think, 7 colleges. It's part of a bigger group of maybe 100 schools. And so we really feel that if, however we roll it out, whether it's how many schools are together or how broad the search is. I'm trying to just kind of keep it within California at this point, but it could, it has the potential to serve on a pretty large scale. So we're making this a very scalable project. So, if it really took off, it could even go beyond California. So one of the things that I really see as somebody who's involved with digital media is that it's also very connected to things like the National Science Foundation in a sense, or STEM education in general. Because, for example, I'm bringing a director of NASA into our college in April to do a presentation to not only our science and math students, but also to our digital media students. Because when he does his presentation, a big part of what he's doing is simulations. And simulations are the same technology basically that you would use to make a video game. So it's called serious game design, which is another huge field. So there is a real coming together of digital media science and technology. It's all kind of two sides of the same coin at this point. And I think what was mentioned in the keynote this morning is important to keep in mind, is that students today really do need to have that kind of wider knowledge of kind of what all the pieces are, but then they need to be more specifically focused in whatever field it is. And we kind of do that with our digital media program. We have a very general course that starts where you learn a little bit of everything, then you kind of find what you want to focus on, then you come back in the end to a capstone project, and you work together as a team to create a project for a client. And between those couple of years or 3 years, however long somebody's at the school, it starts as a very wide understanding. It goes down to a little more specific, and again, leading with a real-world project. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just we'll just take a quick tour here. This is obviously the home page, and again, the site is still under development. We're still working out some of the legal issues, the ownership, where it's going to be hosted, and things like that. But the idea is that when you come here as a first-time viewer, all of these nav bar buttons, if you click on these, you're going to get a request to join, because one of the things that we thought was important is that it's monitored in some way. So there's some kind of approval process, so that either an employer or a student is sort of reviewed before they get up and participate in the site. So the only buttons that are really active on the home page until you're a member is you can go down to these Learn More buttons, and it'll just give a quick overview of some of the advantages here for what it would be if you're a student, what it would be if you're an employer, and what it would be if you're faculty. And again, this whole concept here is based in digital media, but when we get to the how the fields are created and how the input is established, it can be applied to anything. So, for example, if we were involved, if I was working on this with the instructor that I work with who's in networking, we would just duplicate this and build it as a networking site with the same kind of back-end functionality. And so, yeah, if you want to go online, it's just dev.numediacareers.com. Yeah, in fact, I've got well, just if you can change the URL, yeah, it is just http, the : / but it's dev.numediacareers.com. And again, this is just a development site. And those two logins, I'll come back to those in just a minute. That's how we're going to log in as both a student and an employer. In fact, we'll just go ahead and do that now. So this login, I'm going to go in first as a student. So our test login that we're using is Parnas, P-A-R-N-A-S, @parnas.org. Again, I can just pull up this, the second line there, parnas.org, and then the password is just 12345. And so the idea of this, in fact, let me just go back and say one more thing here that will be coming on the home page. In this spot right here, we're obviously saving a spot here for partners, logos, promotion, some kind of key real estate there on the home page for hopefully industry to be sponsoring, either featuring something, whether it's a contest or a position or something. But we're also going to have a little video that plays right here if you're not yet a member, and it will kind of run through something similar to what we're doing here today, so you can get a feel for what it looks like, why it might be something that you would want to use. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to the profile page. The idea of this is we want it to be very thorough, very efficient, very easy to use. That's another thing that I've noticed in a lot of job sites. They're either a little thin or a little thick. They're being a little too cumbersome, a little overwhelming. There's a lot of functionality here, but we're also trying to keep it simple. So at the student's profile page, you'll see their basic information right up here at the top, what school they're going to. And again, this is the first look here at that skill category, and then the career category, and then the skill set. career categories being here, and then the specific skills listed here. And again, those are coming from the input back on the database. When they graduate, any awards, associations, they can even put a link here to their own website. What we're trying to do is keep it all right here, so you don't have to go outside necessarily. You can get a bulk of the information right here. So we've got a spot for a resume and a portfolio in PDF format, so you can have that easily available right here. They've also got a spot here for a basic introduction. We keep it just at about 500 words. Top reasons to hire that particular person. We have it in 3 fields, so that it kind of makes them, focus on the point of what they're saying, so they don't kind of ramble on. And education and work history. And these are all easy to modify, prioritize the order. So it's not just by date; it's whatever you want to, list in whatever order you think is important. There's a place for a blog. They have a place for basic portfolio albums for any still images if they're trying to show any particular kind of still work. And then we've also got a place here for videos. So for example, right now we're hosting the videos are coming from YouTube, but again it all plays within the framework here of the site. Well, yeah, and there's a lot of functionality as far as the program that this is built on, as far as video. But again, hosting a lot of videos can get pretty cumbersome to the server. So right now, that's what we're using. Okay, so again, this is what it looks like when you are logged in as this particular user. This is the student's view in this particular case. If we look at this. Edit my profile link right here at the top, this yellow button. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. This is how it looks when you're either creating this profile or if you want to go in and modify the changes after the fact. So again, trying to make this match up pretty seamlessly to what you see there in the profile page, starting with these boxes here. In this case, we've got our 3 participating colleges. A drop box for what kind of degree is being currently worked on, from all the way from skills certificates to to masters and everything in between. But this right here is really sort of the backbone of the matches, and that's really again the point is having relevant matches that that are easy to get to and easy to change if needed. So again, if you look at the categories. We've got all the things that I kind of mentioned earlier. You can just kind of read through the list here. And this is all, once this is sort of being tested with multiple users, we'll modify this drop list, and we're very open to suggestions. We're again just kind of developing that under the umbrella of digital media and those career categories. And then when you get down to the second box here, these are the specific skills, the precise programs that you are in fact using under that umbrella of that category, whatever it is that you picked up here. So we've got, of course, all the Adobe products. We're an Adobe certified training center up at Santa Rosa, so Adobe is a big part of what we do, and I'm sure it's a big part of what anybody doing digital media is doing. But in our computer science department, we're also doing all the programming languages, and we've now got 3D animation courses. We've got a digital audio course. So we're using Pro Tools and a few things like that. So in our game design, C++, XNG programs such as that. So that's all in this list. And again, this is if you look at this on a bigger scale, if we were using this for networking, these would just be different terms in these drop-down boxes. So it could be applied to many uses. Graduating year. This goes back to 2001, just because of the education history. You want to have a place to put in, previous degrees, months, any awards, all that stuff that you saw there on the front page. And again, for example, if you didn't have a website, I'll just go ahead and delete this here. Hit save. Go back to the profile. And you'll see that those inputs are directly related to this page, and easy to modify the changes. If we go across this little sub-menu right here, this is where that profile text is coming from. So there's there's the 500 characters for the introduction, the top 3 reasons to hire. And again, trying to just keep it focused. That's really the point of the whole thing, is to make it efficient and clear and easy to use. Education history, and again, you'll always see we're always coming back to the categories and the skill sets, because again, that's kind of the backbone of the whole thing. And then down here, you can control the order of the education history. You can also do this with the work history.
Excuse me, what was
yeah.
the username?
For logging in as a student, let me just put it back up on the board. It is Parnas, P-A-R-N-A-S, at parnas.org, and then it's 12345.
What is it?
It's the second
Parnas.
P-A-R-N-A-S. It's just an email address.
Is it the whole email?
It's the whole email address, and then that password, just 12345. And then we will be logging in a moment here as an employer to see what it looks like for both views. Yeah, so if you, when you log in with that login, you will land here. That's the idea.
Okay.
And again, you can tell you're logged in because you've got this box across the top with your login name. And then we're going to go through the links here in just a moment. Okay. Okay, excellent. Okay, so if we go across the, I was just kind of showing you how to modify the profile. So we took a quick look at, the summary. The profile text is here. Education history is where we just left off, and then work history, same thing. If we come in here, this is, just putting in where you worked, when you worked there, and again, you've got this. For example, let me just go back. You'll see Oracle, Sun, and IBM here in our demo. And if I go back to the profile, and we look down here at work history, here they are. And if I wanted, for some reason, to change that order, very easy to do. Just go in here to the work history. Put this guy at 1, put IBM at 1, and Oracle at 3. Hopefully it worked. So now we've changed our work history here. So it's just very flexible for both education and work history. The whole point of this is not to have things be static, because things change a lot, and that's again one of the things they were addressing at the keynote is in where we're heading. We need to be flexible not only with our knowledge, but how we display it and how we connect and stay current and relevant with our data, because that's a big thing, as we all know with the web. You don't want things to be outdated. You want it to be current and fresh. How long? Well, that's yet to be determined. The question is, how long would they stay in the system? We're trying to build this in a way that it's available. That once you're in, it's a membership at some point. So, but we're trying to, of course, make it work for, the power behind this will be that employers find this useful to find qualified students or applicants for, again, projects, or starting with internships, maybe going to a project, and then ultimately a job. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the nav bar here. Again, if you remember when we looked at it the first time, you click on the nav bar, any of these buttons would give you the request to join button, but now that we are logged in, we can see we've got a couple of, I just got a few students in here, and you can look at them as, we can rank them a couple different ways, featured and recent students, so whoever's kind of newly added can show up in one field, or you can just look at all students here from the submenu. By last name, we've got employers, same kind of thing. You can, and again, this is all sort of yet to be determined on exactly how it's going to be displayed, but the idea is just to be able to look at it a couple different ways and give people, users, ways to feature themselves if they would like. And so we're kind of leaving some real estate open here on the right side. Again, if I click on all employers, you can see we've got just a list here, again in alphabetical order. So a couple ways to find the same thing. Same thing for faculty. The idea of faculty is that we want faculty involved. We want faculty from the schools that are involved to be involved with this site to either keep their students informed about what's going on in industry, sharing course material, whatever it is. Yeah.
Can you take out, you're taking it out of the services, career, development, area and allowing faculty to integrate in that as well? Am I misunderstanding?
Usually, well, what we were thinking was faculty involved directly with these particular classes.
Oh, okay.
One of the things that I learned early on in trying to build the program for digital media at Santa Rosa, we went to a conference probably maybe a little over 2 years ago now. One of the biggest things the industry is concerned with, and it was mentioned today at the keynote, is that the schools are teaching what's relevant and currently needed, and there's been a real lag in education that's been a problem. And so we're trying to include the faculty in here not only to kind of link between students and employers, but so that faculty can kind of have a more fluid way to kind of share whatever the current technology is, because as we know, it changes quickly. Okay, if we look at the Jobs tab, again, you can see, I think one of the most powerful things here, it defaults, the Jobs tab goes right to the specific jobs, and you can view the job. We're going to come back and look at this a little bit later, but you can see this, in this case, it was already applied. When you do an application, it sends a message. There's a whole internal communication system here, so there's no spam involved. You also receive an external email to whatever address you signed up with, so that you know that there's activity going on in your account here, so that you get a heads up to log in. So we've got it broken down into just projects, internships, and what we just looked at here, the jobs available. But I think one of the more interesting features is this guy right here, Browse All, where you can easily see the number of positions that are available in a particular category and how many jobs in that particular career category that we talked about earlier. So again, this is coming from that same kind of back end that is being used when the profiles are set up. This search function, you'll also notice that it's kind of repeating right here on the right side as what we're calling a quick link. When you do a search, for example, you can search students, employers, faculty, jobs. All accounts also have one blog, so if you want to have blog communication, you've also got a way to save your searches, because the idea being is that if there are a lot of people involved in this site, that you can easily create searches, save searches, modify searches, keep track of your particular account. So, for example, if I was searching for, if I'm the student searching jobs, and I come in here and I choose, I don't know, any particular skill, I'll just use Photoshop here. Then I can find, it's taking me right to this was a job that was posted by an employer that had, Photoshop as a skill. So it's just, again, you can have up to 3 of each, and you can have it be a little broader or a little more narrow, depending on exactly what you're looking for. Okay, now when you're logged in, we'll just go across the top here. So you've got kind of 2 parts of your account: how to add things, and then where your links are. And again, we're looking just at the student view, and we're going to next log in as an employer. And you'll see a lot of similarity, but there's a few differences between the 2 looks. So if we go to the photo, add a photo. So you've got your albums, you've got the images that are within a particular album. You can make multiple albums. You can have individual pictures. This is the picture that is now currently being used on the profile page. If you want to use another picture for your profile page, such as an avatar, you can just click right here. And you'll notice if we go back to the profile, where his picture of him, it can be whatever you want is the point. So you're not, some people want to use a photo, some people don't. So you can add and manage photos right in this area here. You can add and manage the videos on the next link here. And again, we're also categorizing the videos using that same back in there with the database, so that when you're browsing through videos, you can find them by particular categories. So this particular account has these same 2 videos that we saw on the profile page. And here's the blog post. Now, if we go across the bottom, we've already seen this. This is, the profile, as you see it here. My Photos. The only difference between My Photos and Add Photo is that it doesn't have the upload box, but it's got the same. This is where you would, again, manage any images that are part of that account. Same thing with the videos. You just don't have the upload box here. It just shows you what you currently are housing in your account. Now the messages, this is an important part of this too, because I really was trying to find a way to make this, as I said, not only very relevant and putting quality of connections over quantity, but having communication be very easy and, in this case, spam free, because we want to keep it out of regular email accounts. So this is the student's look. You can see that he's got, when he applies for a position, and we're going to go through and create a position here in a few minutes, but it keeps track of whatever applications he sent in. So there's a mailbox just for the applications that were sent through the system. Then there's the inbox, which is just messages that are sent. All this is internal mail. There's no external way to get from your outside email accounts into here. This is all done within the website. And then whatever message you have sent internally. And I'll just show you what that looks like. If for example, I was this student and I went to this employer's, see, now I'm a student looking at the employer's profile, and one of the first things that we have here is a link at the top that says send internal message, which allows me to send a message to that company, and it will keep track of messages that I sent, of course, who I sent them to, what apps I sent, and then my inbox, and that's it. And so when these and this could be controlled on how often the alert goes out. It could be the minute there's any activity, boom, you get an email sent to your external account, so you should be logging into your account to see what's going on. Either somebody's trying to contact you, or you got a response to an application, or whatever it is. So if we look at the messages, again, this is just a big part of the internal communication for everybody that's a member of the site. The account information is basically just creating your URL. This is still questionable. We might have this where it's a one-time thing so that you don't go in and change the URL after the fact that it's created. Right now, you could. That's yet to be decided. And then lastly is everything can be bookmarked. And so when you come across an employer or a job or a student or a faculty member or whatever it is, you can bookmark whatever that is under those same categories: students, employers, faculty, positions, blogs, with the idea being that it's easy to just get back to whatever it is that you want to just remember on the fly that you bookmark, because everything has this little bookmark tag next to it, and then of course you can unbookmark it if you want to clear that out. Okay, so I'll just pause there for a second. Any questions on any of this? Yeah.
Where did you find apply for a job?
What's that?
Apply for a job. Where was that?
So if you go to, if you were here, in fact, let's do this. We'll go through the steps of, let me see what I have in here. Let's look at, okay, so if you notice down here, and I apologize for the horrible red and blue, that probably will not stay like that, but so here's a particular job, and again, looking at the categories and the skill sets. When you hit apply for position, you are right now sending an email directly to that employer, but this can also be a PDF file if the employer so decided to have it be like that. And again, this will show up when you go back to your messages. You will have an account of whatever job applications you sent in and any response you got back from that employer. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to a different browser here so that I can be logged in at the same time. I'm going to go ahead and log in here now as the employer. So here's our login employer test 3 with these are underscores right here.
Do you mind looking that up for a second?
Yeah, let me just log in and then I'll put it back up there.
Password the same?
Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's employer underscore test underscore 3 at numediacareers.com. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll. Actually, why am I not getting the login? That's interesting.
I can't read that. Could you tell me what that was?
Yeah, let me
Okay.
see if I might have written this down wrong. Okay, I'm sorry, it's test, I have this backwards, it's test underscore employer 3. Just reverse testing employer, I just typed it up there backwards. Yeah, it's test underscore employer underscore 3 at numediacareers.com.
You're not logging out as student.
No, I'm still logged in as both here. So here's my student account and here's the employer. And what I want you to see is from here, if I go to, so I'm now the employer right here. And if I look at the students, for example, and I'm going to go down to the same, here's our student that's logged in that we were looking at a moment ago. Here's the bookmarking that I was talking about. So wherever you see, the jobs, students, employers, whoever it is, this is how you bookmark and unbookmark under those specific categories. But if I click right here, I can, as the employer now, go see that student's profile. And here's what it looks like when you are, just like the student looking at the employer, this is the employer looking at the student. So the main difference is you don't have the edit my profile options because that's specific to the user. Okay, so the bulk of this, or the rest of this, is very similar. You can see they have the same add photo, video. This is different. The employers have an add position link that, of course, the students don't have. And then the rest of this is profile, photos, videos, some messages. They've got the same box, except if you look at their mailbox there on the right, it says received job apps, where the student was sent job apps. And then the rest is the inbox internal, sends internal. An employer could contact a student could contact an employer. That's what that send message was that was right at the top of their profile. What's that? Yeah. Right, that's right. So I'm going to go ahead and just create a position here. And you'll see I just went to, as the employer, I went to add position. And we'll just say that this is a project, and it's in the sound recording arts, and you need to know Pro Tools. Again, this is the employer posting a job. It's in California. This project's in Alameda. I'm just making all this up. Sound engineer who needs to know Pro Tools. This is a recording project for digital media. Now, these all this information here I think is helpful too. It's, can you work remotely? In this case, no. We're going to say it's an on-location project. You've got a rough hourly rate, whether it's pro bono, negotiable, up to $20, above $20, whatever that is. And just full part-time, a couple options there. I would say this kind of project would be full-time, short-term, all days, and there's some travel required. Hit create position, and that's it. Now if I go back to, you can see this is my positions, and if I go back to the profile for this employer, here's the job that we just posted. Now if I go back to the student page, because the student is in here searching for jobs, and I'm just going to go ahead and put in the Pro Tools. And here's the job that was just posted as the employer showing up in a search for the student. So that's the whole point, is to have it be you know, quick, relevant, and instant, hopefully. And just quickly looking at the, let me go back to the employer. They've got a place for videos, they've got a place for albums, they have a blog, they've got interview tips, resume tips, hiring. And again, all of this is optional. You don't have to fill in all these fields. So if you go to edit my profile for the employer, they've got just two simple things. You know, the idea is we're trying to make it very efficient, because if you have the right amount of information, you can find a lot about a position or a student in a very short amount of time. And that's kind of the, you know, the point of all that. And you'll see that they've got the categories, they've got the skills, what type of offering they're putting out there, information about their company. And again, these boxes easy to fill in here for the basic information that you see on the profile page. And then lastly, where the student had 4 or 5 options there in the submenu, they've just got a place here to use their logo. They can also, it's easy to change here from the photo page if they want to use any of these images as well on their profile. So that's pretty much the concept of it. The last thing I would show here is to show one thing that we're doing at Santa Rosa. In our Intro to Digital Media class, we are introducing students basically to the entire Adobe suite. So in a semester they use a little bit of all the programs. And it's kind of what he was touching on earlier, is having that wider knowledge of, you know, everything. And then the idea after that is going and finding your specific skill set and coming back and working on a team. So we've now added, we do a lot of websites for local businesses, for example. And so now you've got this digital media person as a team member taking care of video and audio. So we have kind of an a la carte menu that clients can kind of pick and choose from. In the first class, they're using all the programs in the suite to make their own website with their own pictures, their own video. And one of the things that we're kind of having them do in that class is make a 1-minute video resume. And so that is something that it would be easy to include on this website. And then at the end, we're having, we just did this last semester where we made these student testimonials. And let's see, what I want to show, let's show a programmer. So this is a combination. This is a programmer who took classes at the JC. We have the video class do the editing. I'm just going to turn down the audio here because I'm getting the bounce back. But the idea is that we're really tying all of our classes together so that, again, these were a bunch of students who went through our programs who talked about the classes they took. They talked about ultimately the job that they received, and they talked about their instructors and just the whole experience there at the college. So in the beginning, they're making a video that is really about them, that they're using as a promotional tool, and in the end, they're kind of putting the history of what they went through at the school, what their previous experience was, and where they are today. So this whole video shows examples of not only the work that they're doing currently, but talks about how they got here. So I guess I'll just go ahead and close there. Is there any questions before we kind of wrap it up? Yeah.
Is there a connection between this course and the student's employment office?
Well, yeah. So in our particular case, one of the things that we found out is that there are 3